I think a large part of the lack of soul in modern comics or manga, and by extension, cartoons and anime, is disconnected from the reality of death, which is why we don't feel that sense of realism or even urgency coming from the work we see nowadays. And I want to explain what I mean by that. Because on stream recently, I was talking about earlier comics and how they were really on that same level as manga is today, because there was such a connection to that urgency of life and death in their stories that you could feel it on every page. It wasn't as lackadaisical as comics are these days. It feels that, like, in general, because death isn't right in our faces, we just don't feel that sense of importance or preciousness of life that you could feel oozing from earlier comics, manga, and anime in general. One example that I was looking at was the John Romita Sr. run of Spider-Man, written by Stan Lee. And in these comics, you could see how every cover is a life or death battle, or even every page is just like there's something going on. There's action on every, like, just something is happening. Spider-Man is in a struggle with somebody. He's trying to fight for his life. Somebody's getting hurt. Somebody's getting killed. We need to go figure this thing out, or people will die. He's fighting Kingpin. Like, there's no rest for this guy. There's no rest for Spidey. He's just always, he just never gets a break. And that makes for insanely exciting storytelling just on the surface of it. There is a lot of speech balloons back in the past, but people were more readers back in the day, so nobody minded. But those pages have that sense of urgency, that sense of urgency of life, where it's like there's no scenes where the characters are just chilling and relaxing and eating some hamburgers or hot dogs or whatever. Maybe if there is, it's only for like 2 seconds before something explodes and now we got to go deal with that thing. There was a sense of caring about the reader's experience and what they were trying to get out of life. And the reason why soul, that feeling of an exchange of real ideas connected to reality, is so lost these days, is because nobody really has death at the forefront of their mind, or there isn't a solid connection with it because there's so many distractions in life. There's so many, like, video games to look forward to. There's so much anime to watch. There's so much food to eat. There's just so much abundance in life that we're just not even really thinking about death or dying. And thus we don't really feel that much connected to our soul. It's more like, rather than real love, we care more about sexual gratification. Rather than real life or real adventure, we care more about simulated adventure on video games. Rather than real friends, real camaraderie, real brotherhood, real friendship, we have co-workers and acquaintances. And it seems like society has set up more of a facsimile of life rather than an environment where you are constantly exposed to the real thing. And I think that's just a factor of the improvements of technology and quality of living over time, that you get to the point where living longer is just easier now. fixing ailments is just easier now. I saw a YouTube short recently. It was a comedian talking about how people used to die of diarrhea. Like, that used to be a thing that people would die from, dysentery. But now it's so easy to fix that it's not a daily occurrence for somebody to pass away from that. I personally hardly know anyone who's passed away in my life. I don't think I've ever seen a corpse in real life. And yet I have felt my own soul dying. And that was an experience and a half, and we won't get into that in this video. But it did give me some connection to death and my own soul, and give me some sort of pathway to convey that in my work, in my art. And I look at anime or manga that come out these days, and I wonder what the work is trying to say underneath the surface. Like, are they trying to import something that is actually meaningful, or actually something that I can take and go forward in life with? Or is it just hype moments and aura farming and looking cool for the camera with no substance at all? And while fun things like that have their place, I find myself more often going back to the classics, the anime or the manga or the comics of old, stories that worked because they were connected to the fundamental aspects of human living that everybody goes through. Things like the fact that everybody will die, everybody seeks love or connection of some sort. People have enemies or an opposing force against them that they must overcome in order to have a better life. And just other general things that people go through. I gravitate more towards works like that. Works like the things that I grew up on, that gave me sort of an inner compass to navigate life with and not be destroyed or blown away by the slightest inconvenience. And that's exactly the type of story I'm trying to create in my latest webcomic called Saintly. It is a demon chase horror action comedy about two best friends who have to outrun the demon loan sharks that they borrowed from. Basically, it's like Scooby-Doo meets K-pop demon hunters without the K-pop. And the story backs the main character into a corner where she has to decide between the hard path to success or lose her soul to the lure of easy money. And we get to see the ramifications of her choice, and if she can hide this deal with the devil from her friend, or if it will tear them apart. And I hope you read my comic in the description and check out the story. It should appear in your email inbox or your spam folder if you don't see it. And now, with the pencils for chapter 3 being done and the inks underway, I am getting closer and closer to being able to share my vision of the world with you guys and put my stories out there. So thank you for watching. Please rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.